Good afternoon, everybody. This is Kim Caron. You see, I got a guest behind me. We're being safe on the 6 foot distance on social distancing, but we're not social isolation. So that's good. So we're glad that y'all are showing up. And since Nicole lives in Tupelo, we decided to have her here in the gallery. And I will be posting her studio tour late this afternoon. So just give me some time and you will see that later today. It's great. She did it and it's got some good commentary and I can't wait for y'all to see it. So anyway, behind me is Nicole's pieces and she's going to explain those a little bit in just a few minutes. So anyway, I think I'm going to turn the camera around and y'all just excuse the gallery because it is a hot mess. I'm resetting the gallery, moving furniture and fixtures around, so bear with me. So I'm going to turn the camera around and let y'all, the gallery phone's going to ring. We're not going to answer it, so y'all ignore it. I'm going to start asking her some questions like we did the other times. But if y'all will, if you want to ask any questions, go ahead and post them on the comment section, and then we will answer them at the end, okay? So I'm going to let Nicole answer my first question, and that is, let's see, how did you become an artist? Like, what's your journey of becoming an artist, and maybe where you studied or how it affected you as a child and growing up, that kind of stuff. So I'll let you start. I'm going to turn around and start showing some of your stuff close up.
Okay. So how I became an artist, my grandfather was a painter, and I have a bunch of artsy people in my family, and so I was always brought outside. We always went hiking, and he taught us how to watercolor, my brother and I, and then I took art classes throughout school, and then I went to community college. I was in high school in Florida, in Palm Beach, Florida. And after high school, I went to community college trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and art classes were the only thing that kind of stuck. So I got my associate's degree and then kind of moved around a little bit and came back to Florida and got my undergraduate degree at University of Central Florida and did that in painting. And then I graduated in 2014, and then shortly after that I went to graduate school. So when I went to graduate school, I went for printmaking, and that was in Temple University in Philadelphia. I did 2 years there, and when I did undergrad, I met another local artist here, Keith Francis, and
we were trying to give her some extra light there, and we're gonna get it all wiped off. I promise you. So we're being very cautious. We both have gloves. We have bleach wipes or Clorox wipes, on that kind of stuff. So don't worry, we're going to be taking care of each other. Yeah. She's got a little shadow under her chin. So anyway, all right. So after you finished your master's at Temple.
At Temple, when I was an undergrad, I had met an artist, one of my professors, Keith Francis, who was here, and he had offered for a group of his students when he retired that he had a big property and extra space for studio space, so he offered for, if we need space to work, that we could come here. So a bunch of my friends moved here while I was in graduate school.
Right. And we're going to interview Key in a couple weeks, and show some of that out there. The video that you gave me yesterday, we'll post tonight, and that'll show some of the studio, kind of your studio behind his, and then we'll do his interview and show some more of that, so they'll kind of be able to connect the dots. On that.
Perfect. Yeah. So Key taught me how to print, how to do woodcut prints, and then I went to graduate school and learned more about printmaking and stuff like that. So, and now I'm here. So.
Full-time artist, and you're here most of the time, and then you have a really good friend that's getting his master's, right?
Yeah.
That you see him, go and visit him, and you can sometimes work in his studio. Is that right?
I turn his apartment into my studio.
Hey, you work where you can. That's great.
Yeah,
Ingenuity.
Yeah.
And then your family is
My parents are in Hawaii.
Hawaii. Okay.
Yeah, which is where I'm originally from, and so I also sell some work out there. So I'll go there and work, and I have some other artist friends there. So go and get to do some stuff. I used to have a studio out there.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of back and forth between now Iowa City, where my partner is going to get his master's in printmaking, and then Hawaii and here. So
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
Good. Young and energetic. I love it. Okay, so let me check my other questions. What is? I think you've kind of alluded to that, but maybe this will give an opportunity to dive a little deeper. Is your primary medium? And I think these are all going to be connected, so I'm going to join these two questions together. Your primary medium, your favorite imagery and subject matter, because I think for you, I think all those are kind of very connected.
Totally.
And I would love for you, and I can back up a little bit or come closer, kind of, sort of, on showing and describing these pieces behind you, because they are so fantastic, and I think just seeing it, and I've tried to do a little bit yesterday of some close-ups and showing the different layers, but I don't know if that's enough. So we can maybe do more of that, and maybe I can come a little closer in arm's length or something like that. We'll figure it out. So dive in.
So subject matter-wise, I work mostly with botanicals, some landscape drawings, but I do a lot of permaculture research and just gardening research in general, and a little bit, actually anything that's related to plants I will dive into. And so that's what I've been drawing. That's what I've been drawing for years. And so some of the woodcuts start out as drawings. I'll go out and draw from life, and then certain drawings, if I think that they'll translate well into a wood block, I'll draw them on a block, and then they'll become part of a print series. So the mediums that I use are drawing, watercolor, acrylic, woodcut prints. I'll do copper plate etchings. I've done litho. So I do like kind of a little bit of everything, and I've been branching out into experimenting with paper and different like sculptural aspects to paper, which is where some of these came into play. And I've been kind of messing around with collage and paper for some time now. I'll get up if that's cool.
Sure.
So these are all, I keep all of my prints, whether they're good or not, or if they're not finished, and I keep them as new material to make collages from. So this is from like the collection of things that are either unfinished or whatever. So to me, it seems to create this like kind of ecosystem where I don't have to bring in new things. I always have material that is all connected to itself and has an age and develops like its own like personality, or to me, or anyway. So these pieces I made about a couple, I've been working on for a little while, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. And they're all meant to be hung outside of a frame and just hung with magnets on the wall, because I'm trying to give more personality to the...
Let's talk about, you
want to talk about
use that one, because I can reach it and not get too close, and you can kind of touch it and move around. I can still see it.
Yeah, so this is one that's like all collage, and you can kind of see it just like pops off the wall. There's a magnet and stuff. And the reason I don't want them in frames is because there's an interaction with the wall and the shadow, and for some of them, if you were to come by them, if they move and they breathe, so it's just kind of like imitating nature in a very different way. Yeah. So this one has a little poem on the bottom of it from a zine that I had made a couple years ago.
Oh, can you tell them what a zine is? Because I didn't know until you talked about that a while. I mean, when you first joined us, I was like, What is that?
Yeah, so a zine is usually like a self-published, or it started as like a self-published magazine or writing, or so I can't remember when they were really started, but a lot of them are just like made on copy machines, and a lot of them started being used like just from Xeroxes to get information out or art image out at a really cheap, low price, or to get writings out for that matter. So now it's become more of like it's kind of connected to like an artist book, but it's just kind of a different, cheaper version where you can just make way more of them for a more affordable price. So they're really cool. This was made on a risograph, which is like a fancy Xerox machine, I guess. People will probably disagree with me, I don't know. But, so that's how that was made. And so I had some scraps left from that printing. And so I used it in that piece. So that's what I mean. I just keep everything, and then they come back to life in these pieces. So.
Well, let's have just a quick chat about the free-form, unframed kind of situation. Because when you brought them in, I think I kind of freaked out.
Nervous.
I was very nervous because it's an immediate, and I know y'all don't see my face, but I'd rather see Nicole's pretty face and her beautiful artwork. And also behind her, we've got some of her bigger pieces as well. But, when they first came in, I loved them because I remember doing an Insta story, and they were just so tactile, and just lifting them up and seeing other layers of them. I thought that was so great. But my instinct as a gallery owner was, oh my gosh, I have to protect these. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to cover them in cellophane, and then get them in a frame, or be able to put them in a print bin so they didn't get them messed up. I was just like, I was freaking out.
I just pretty much put my foot down.
And I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. Because I want to, you stand there, and I'm going to back up, and I want y'all to see that this wall of paper pieces, and they are so amazing. So this wall is 8 foot by 8 foot, and I try to spread them out and hang them so that you could see how they just float on the wall. They have magnets on the back so they can sit up. So I put a screw in the wall and then attach the magnet to the screw. And they're just so airy. Yeah, and so she has a piece of metal, I think a razor, that's covered up with tape. Of course, the magnet still takes it on. And just seeing all that, and just I would like, the artsy Katie was like, oh, I love the shadows.
Cool.
Yeah, she said lovely shadows.
Oh, nice.
And you can, and like this one in the middle, you see how it's kind of flopped over. You want to kind of sit it up straight for just a half a second.
Yeah,
that one in the middle. So yesterday when I hung this, it was all flat and hanging just like that. And then we walk in this morning, and it's kind of drooping, but it's okay because.
Well, everything it's
developing.
On the back. These kind of don't exist in the way that like a painting or a typical print exists, because they're printed on both sides, which a lot of paintings and prints do paint on the back. But so they're meant to be like flopped over, and they're paper, so they are what they are. Like, I'm not going to pretend like they're not fragile, but like, you're pretty careful when you have a canvas hanging on the wall. You typically don't allow like people to just back up into them. So I think that like we should trust ourselves to be able to handle things like this. The other thing is that kind of excites me is that if something happens to the piece, I'll take it back and I'll fix it, but it'll be different, which is kind of exciting. So it just keeps growing and changing, because I can't reprint this saved little piece. Like, maybe I could, it wouldn't get the same, but it can shift a little bit and just like kind of morph and live in another way. But I think that, everything's archival. It's all like still acid-free glue, and everything involved is here. But, it's just kind of a different approach to it. So
it is. I've really had to think about it. and process it myself. But now, and especially since I have them all hung, oh my gosh, I'm just like in love with them.
Oh, cool.
And I just think that just the idea that you talked about, that the organicness of it, if they did change, all of a sudden you have a new creation.
Yeah.
And that just like, oh wow.
Yeah.
It was just really neat.
Yeah, it also becomes kind of like, I mean, say you had one of these pieces and you personally ripped it, then it becomes like almost like a collaboration between the owner and the piece and myself, and it just, you know, an unintentional, like, I mean, I guess if you want to buy it and rip it intentionally and send it back, that's pretty like badass too. Like, I'm not opposed to that. I think that's pretty rogue.
They'll be coming every 6 months. The same person keeps sending it back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty cool.
That is fun. That's fun.
Yeah.
Let's see what else I have on our questions here. Okay, so I know you're single, but there is always family distractions and things in life that distract us. So how do you deal with distractions and still trying to get your work done and be productive?
So my distractions are my own, like, self-made distractions. My partner lives up north, so he's not really around. But, you know, you just kind of have to get into the shop and just be there. Like, even if you are so distracted with other things, you got to show up. I was having a conversation with Key the other day about that. It's like, if you don't show up for a certain amount of time, it gets to be a little bit harder to, like, keep things flowing.
So the longer you stay away, the harder it is to get back in the groove? Yeah.
So, I mean, I just go in there, and sometimes I sit in the shop and I'm on my phone the whole time, and I'm not, or I'm like working on something else, but I'm in the shop. But the thing is like, there's always work up, so I have faith that, like, my peripheral vision and my subconscious is like thinking about things, and that when I'm ready to move, that's just like
it just flows out and maybe be.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I hope, and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it's a pain, and it's a real struggle, but I think you just kind of have to show up. That's the only thing that I know.
I had an artist text me the other day. I won't call him out, but anyway, he asked me about, like, you know, he was trying to get some things together, and he's wanting to create some new stuff for the gallery and so forth. And he said, but today, or the last couple of days, I just pull out my sketch pad and I just look at a blank piece of white paper. He said, I can't do anything. He said, I've never been like that. Yeah. And I said, okay, you need to channel your favorite artist, go outside and say, okay, what would they do in this situation? Because we are living in a different circumstance, a different world right now, a new normal. And I said, you just need to, think about not yourself, but think about that artist. They had other struggles too. Yeah. Trying to see how they would have done that. And I got a text the next day, I've got so many ideas.
Good.
I said, see, there you go.
But I mean, sometimes, like, it's also, like, okay to not make stuff for a certain amount of time, like, beating yourself up that you can't make anything never really helps, and sometimes I'll go weeks and not make anything really worth anything, and it'll just be me being frustrated for a couple weeks. So, like, on the other hand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, let's see. What is our other questions? All right, so this is kind of one of my closing ones, but I have something to add after you're finished. So, what is it? Why do you paint? Why did you choose to be a professional full-time artist and not something else?
I think it just kind of happened naturally for the most part, and then I think it's leading.
I've kind of stumped some people this week with that question.
Yeah, that's a tough one, because I think that it did happen really naturally, and then it never faded away. And there's a moment when you're making, and like when it goes well, and you could be struggling with a piece for months, and when it's finished and it goes really well, there's like very few things that can compete with that feeling. And that's really why I'm making. I also think that, like, creation as a practice is very helpful for me to navigate life through, because it allows me to be more understanding. I had to deal with a lot just being alone all the time. Like this experience right now that everyone's going through, I've been going through for like 2 years, like working by yourself, and like nobody can really help you. Like,
right,
you know,
right.
I'm making these are my decisions.
Right.
And so like, it's just I think it's just good for me. Like it's good for my growth as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully people are inspired to go outside and or have a break, like looking at some really nice color. Like sometimes we live in spaces we don't have a lot of color, beautiful things around us, and that's
right.
like just the truth. So to make something that maybe brings someone a little bit of relief in some way is really nice, but it's mostly a selfish act of like, I'm just like really into it. So.
No, it's good. It's good. All right, so I'm going to let you come back over here and sit in your seat, and I'll sit in my seat. And we want to tell y'all one more thing. So I'm going to switch this around onto me. Oh, so close. All right, so I almost disappeared there. Sorry about that. Okay, so so Nicole, you in there? Okay.
Yeah,
so this is April 1st, and hold on. I need some light because I look so dark and pale. Okay, so April 1st, and I know that the president's put on this continued social distancing through the month of April, but we want to start off on a positive note, and I want to share with everyone that Nicole is our featured artist for April, and she is going to be in the art box this month.
Yeah.
So she just delivered all the pieces for that, and I'm not going to show them to you today. They're not exactly like those up there, but they are along some things that she talked about. So I'll just leave it like that. I'll show some pictures in a couple days, but I got to get them all in cellophane, and I need to get all the stuff, the boxes ready and such. So we only do 30. They were $79 each, which is an awesome price for what you see behind me. And compared to, how she creates and her price points. So $79, they ship free. And let's see, what else? So we have 30, we've already pre-sold, I think, about 12. So at least about 18. So if you really need a little self-care right now, this is what you need to do. You need to buy one of these boxes. They're on the website. If you go to our homepage, scroll down to the bottom, it says My Mississippi Art Box. Click on that link and you can get one. We'll ship them out probably Monday, because I'm trying to just go to UPS once a week. Now I've gone the last 2 days, so I'm not going today. But we'll probably start shipping those out next week. So those who already pre-ordered, those will go out first. And then those I get over the next couple of days, I'll try to get those, worked on as the week goes on. But I've got all the boxes, kind of prepped, and we'll get those in out to you ASAP. So let me see if there's any other questions though that came up on this. There was, I know Big Man Little Bike said it's cool that all those pieces will have a different look based on everyone's lighting in their homes.
Yeah.
And I thought that was neat. Different shadows, the different lighting, the color of the walls, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally. And some of them have like some bright colors on the back of them too. So if you have like a white wall, they might vibrate off of that white. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, and you were talking about that the other day, and I thought that was so interesting. I didn't even think about that. Let's see, someone else said, okay, yeah, the Artsy Katie said that the lovely shadows, she really liked that. And she liked it unframed too. Let's see if there's any other questions on here. I think that's the only ones I remember seeing.
Cool.
I just had some happy faces sent your way. But anyway, we're so glad that y'all joined us.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I will record this. We're going to put it on live stories. Add it to stories for the next 24 hours. So if you have any friends, tell them to take a look. And then I'll record it tonight and upload it to YouTube probably in the morning. I did caterings this morning. It's not the best. I'm not a professional, so bear with me. But anyway, hope y'all have a great day, and thank you. We will be back tomorrow. David Johnson, the ceramist, he lives in Memphis, and he's fun. So I want y'all to come back and join us tomorrow. Y'all have a great day.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye.